What is going on, everybody?
Hello.
It is Pixel Buddies here, and welcome back to Richard and Alice. When we left off, this is going on. There's a lot that happened last time. If you're out of the loop, this is a little bit too much. Learned about Barney's fate. We escaped from our little cells while almost dying to a fire, but we don't want to talk about that. And we're gonna leave, but right now things are a little bad inside here, it would seem.
And the something I saw that I didn't say yet. The symbols inside, that little symbol inside the circle.
Yeah.
Are those? If you complete that circle and then put like a dot in the middle, that's like that thing from Code Lyoko.
Oh my god. Or a Dusclops.
Or
All right, a unit of lights, where one of them is out right now, but I don't think there's anything I can do there. All right, computer. Let's take a looky-do at that, huh? I've no idea how you log into this thing. Any ideas, Alice?
How should I know?
Fair enough. I'm sure that guy probably has something. A brick.
Oh.
I wasn't sure if that was, but a brick was not what was on my bingo card.
Think very carefully before you do anything with that, Richard.
What?
Oh, nothing.
Okay, I mean, if I throw it over there, then it's lost forever. How's it hanging, dude?
God.
Let's see if you got anything useful in his pockets. What's this? A pocket mirror?
Pocket mirror, that's another good RPG maker.
Not quite what I was hoping for, but I guess he liked taking care of his appearance.
The lasers.
What do you think about all this?
Hey.
Fair enough. Pocket mirror? It's a decent looking pocket mirror. All right. And then we have our family photograph still, at least, so that's nice. Yeah. They told me I was going to person this photo is the one thing I knew I had to bring. Fortunately, you keep stuff like this. Okay. Throw the brick at the man.
No.
No, I'm not going to do that.
Mirror the laser.
Will this work? It could work, but I'll need more mirrors. I'll need a lot more mirrors. There's back to the exit. I'm not going to try walking through them. I have to think what would happen next. Fair point. So,
check out the unit, yeah.
Things like that. Maybe we brick the unit. I don't think it's going to do anything. Maybe we check myself in the mirror. I'm already holding it. Maybe we'll have Alice check herself out in the mirror. I'll need to give that to Alice. Okay, never mind that. Fuck me. We throw a brick at the computer. Start another fire. I don't think that would work. Never mind. Anything about these lasers I can do? These are blocking the exit. I can try walking through them. I think it would happen. It's beyond the lasers. We have to deactivate those first.
Okay.
And the keypads. Beyond the lasers. Okay, so how we go about deactivating the lasers? Yeah, we checked him. That's how we got it. It doesn't have anything else on him. I checked. Okay. Limited options here.
Yeah.
Chair. There's the computer. Nothing happens when we're going back down where we came from.
You want to try clicking on the computer again? Just on its own?
I wouldn't know how to go about logging in, so he's just all about that. Because notice that there's one thing of lights that's out, but I guess that doesn't really mean anything. Nothing else around. Brick these? Don't think it's gonna do anything. Okay.
Brick the lasers.
Brick the lasers. No, that won't work. Mirror on the computer. Nope. Break the computer again. Nope. Photo the computer. Nope, that's not gonna do. I'm running out of.
Will the photo work as a mirror? Cause the glass.
I always thought it was just a basic.
Cause there's a frame.
I always thought it was just like a, Polaroid out on its own. What happens when I put it there?
No, okay,
just says that won't work.
Never mind.
Maybe we could break it.
Because I always imagined it as
Oh no! Do we break our family photo? Because if you're saying like it is, it would have glass on the cover, and we would need to break up pieces of glass for more. Or do we break the mirror? Let's smash it up a bit. Not the family photo.
I guess the photo's just the photo. I don't know. I imagine it being like, in like the framed with the glass cover, like sitting on a desk type thing. Yeah.
Right then.
I'm glad we don't have to break the photo.
Exactly. I thought for a moment that does have to do, but.
Really, Richard? Putting mirrors over the lasers? I thought that only worked in the movies.
Not at all. It's a perfectly logical solution. Careful now. Careful, SpongeBob. Bingo. 1 down, 3 to go. Bip. Oh, we gotta go all the way across. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, I'll do better on this one then. I'll do the bottom one. Bip. And now that one. Skaboopy. Oof. All right. We have a keypad here. Shit, what was it? I only need 1.
Richard, what are you talking about?
Right. Okay. Don't freak out, all right? I need to tell you some things.
I'm listening.
Okay. Look, that place I mentioned, before I put myself in here, I had a bit of a deal going down. Just something that would make life a tiny bit better for a lot of people. But it went slightly south. I gave myself up so I could lie low until this all blew over. There are people on the outside working on it. Everything's fine, don't worry. But we had a man on the inside, in this place.
Are you shitting me?
No. The plan always was, if I needed to get out, it wouldn't be too hard. A carelessly unlocked cell, a hack of the keypad, nobody would ever be able to point the finger. This guy had been feeding us access codes for a while.
Why?
We did deals with this place too. We're actually not far from the storage bunker. It's just made things easier if we could slip in and out unnoticed. He'd radio through the codes, sometimes we'd come and trade supplies. So naturally, when I had the opportunity to turn myself in, it was a relief to know there was a friendly face waiting for me in case I did need to get out in a hurry.
Wait, so this entire time you've been in here of your own volition?
Well, mostly, yeah. I mean, sure, I wanted to face up to what I'd done, but it's a safe place too, and you know what they say, the safest in the world.
What the hell is this deal you're talking about then?
It's not important, really. I'll explain properly when we're out. Just supplies and things. Trading, I mean. Christ, it's not like the government bothers anymore, is it?
Okay, fine. Punch in the code and we'll get out of here.
I was doing human trafficking. I mean, what? So, here's the thing. There's a security exploit in this particular lock system. The way it caches the memory is possible to make it so that any previous access code works. It's pretty simple.
Alright, so do it?
It's not that simple. Well, that's the problem. I don't recall any of the access codes. It was alright when there was someone else here I could have asked.
Right. So we're stuck here.
No, hold on, let me think. They're only 8 digits long. I must be able to remember one of them. Think, Richard, think.
Oh my god. Richard?
Hold on, I'm thinking, yes?
Give me the photo.
What? Why?
Just give it to me.
No, why?
I don't think you're in any position to be questioning me, are you?
Alice, please. That's all I have.
Well, relax, Richard. I'm not going to destroy it.
Okay, but I don't understand.
Right, let's have a look. 13182220.
Alice?
Well, just shut up and unlock the door, Richard. I'm sick of this place.
Alice, how long?
Just fucking do it.
Boop, beep, boop, bop. Boop, 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 boop. Why do you have the access code to the door, Alice? We're free!
I feel like maybe she saw it on the thing, on the photo. I don't know.
We're
free. So, what now?
We should probably talk.
We've done a lot of talking, don't you think? Maybe too much. I don't want to talk right now.
I think we should.
I know.
Alice, you don't seem okay. I mean, I understand, but come on, we're out. I know where we are, I know how to get to safety, and we can work on what to do from there.
I know, Richard, it's just... Like I say, what now? Back to surviving? Barely making it? Back to doing all those awful things we have to do to survive?
Alice, listen. When I was a kid, a really young boy, whenever I used to get really down, when I'd feel really hopeless, my father would take me to one side. And do you know what he would say to me?
No.
He'd say, Richard,
oh my God.
Brussels sprouts survive through the winter. Tomatoes turn to juice. Are you a tomato or a Brussels sprout? And I'd say,
Daddy, I'm a Brussels sprout.
What, not even a smile? Well, can't win them all, I guess.
Let's just go then.
Well...
Oh, boy. Oh, hey, we're here.
You must think I'm a terrible person.
I don't think you're a terrible person, Richard. I think the world is a terrible, awful place. And people do terrible things.
That isn't what I expected you to say. I didn't think you'd understand.
I understood.
It's crazy, isn't it? How two lives can collide like snowflakes falling in the wind. Chance encounters. Fate or coincidence?
I don't believe in fate. At all. You know that.
Neither do I. It wasn't how it must have looked. It really wasn't. The people we took in, they wouldn't have survived by themselves. The Polars, they may not have been the nicest of people, but they were providers. They gave them clothes, food, shelter. And it could have been worse. A lot worse. And by dealing with them, by trading with them, hell, we helped a whole lot more than we could have done otherwise.
That's how you see it? You took away their choice, Richard. They starved to death, you know. Upstairs? What chance did they have then?
That wasn't my fault. God, Alice, you don't understand. I had no choice. It wasn't long after that day in the church, I got tired of running. Turned myself in. I wanted to make up for what Jake and Caleb had done.
And in the process, get clothes, food, shelter, imprisonment, safety. Sounds familiar? Don't try to paint this as self-sacrifice, Richard. You were hiding from the mess you'd caused.
You don't understand.
If you say so.
It was for Sarah. For Sarah and Joss. The Polars, they made sure my family would be taken care of. Like, properly. None of this foraged medicine. None of those scraps of food. Let me get them into the zone. Christ, we would have all got into zones. This one girl, Lucy, she was our ticket. Caleb and Jake, they fucked things up for a lot of people when they killed her.
Did Joss know? Did she know what you'd done for Sarah?
No, she suspected. Sarah said some things after the guys did what they did. This guy showed up. This fucking guy. He was looking for Lucy. Before we got to him, he saw Sarah and he told her what we were. He told my little girl her father was a monster. And it was over then. They took what I'd provided and left. I deserved it. I know I deserved it.
None of us deserve any of this.
No, that's right. You don't deserve this. Barney didn't deserve this.
Barney. Richard, when you say you got to him...
I tried to talk to him. Tried to explain. Lucy would have been safe. If he'd only listened. The Polars aren't bad people, Alice. They're just men and women like you and me doing what they have to do in order to survive.
This whole world is chaos.
I wonder about that sometimes. Everything's so chaotic, but we were brought together. Our lives intertwined. We were given a second chance.
Is that why you brought me here, Richard? For a second chance? So what, you'll keep me safe? I can be your new bargaining chip? What?
Oh, I finally got the fucking connection. Holy shit.
What?
Of what happened. Why she flipped the photograph over and was able to read a code. That was his photograph that was in the church in the book. Remember how she wrote down the code that was coming in over the intercom?
Wow.
That was his place where he was getting those details in, and he was trying to write those codes down. And Alice wrote one down when Barney was, you should put this down.
Dude.
That's how she knew the code would be on the back when she saw the picture. It was like, wait a minute.
Dude.
Because I bet she went like, hold on a fucking second. I've seen, wait a minute. And then flipped it over and found the code because she put it on there herself.
Ever since that he first showed it to her, she's known.
Either that or she finally had the connection come to her head there. But, yeah.
I don't know. She's pretty smart.
Yeah? Alright, anyways. Alice, it's not like that. I just want to make everything right.
Oh, sure. You big, brave men and your desire to right all the wrong things of the world, no matter how many people get hurt in the process. Can you change the weather, Richard? Can you help the people you left to starve? Can you bring Barney back? Don't talk to me about making everything right.
I'm sorry. You know me, Alice. You know I'm not a monster, right?
Richard?
Yeah?
Before whatever comes next, before we decide how to proceed, can I ask one thing?
Sure.
Can I say goodbye?
Sure, why not?
Oh. I still have no idea who's really buried here.
It was at...
I don't want to know.
Never mind. I'm sorry.
In the end, it didn't change anything. Does it really matter where you're rotting? The earth will swallow you no matter where you are.
Alice.
Hello, sweetheart. I know Mommy hasn't been to visit in a long time, and I'm sorry. I hope you're okay now, Barney. I hope you're warm and not sick, and that you're playing with Daddy. I hope the sun's shining, and the snow's all melted, and you're looking down, and... I hope that you're having lots of wonderful adventures with Daddy. And I hope you know that I love you, Barney. I love you so, so much. I will always love you, and I hope you've forgiven me. Mommy will come back and see you soon, Barney. I promise.
Are you ready?
As I'll ever be.
Thank you, Alice. I mean it. Thank you. Hoo-wee.
Oh boy. Are we doing the right thing?
I don't know.
But you always know.
Not this time. We'll see.
Richard, just tell me one thing.
What's that?
The Polars. I never saw any of them. Never heard a thing from them. Just how bad are they?
Alice, they're no different from you or me.
I thought you'd say that. Wow.
And
it just
there
ends
we
just
go.
like that?
That is how it ends, just like that.
What? But...
I do believe that when I was looking things up, I kind of got distracted by many things before, but apparently there are a few potential ending scenes you can get to this game. The only thing I assume is it's based off of those dialogue choices when you're talking to like Barney and Richard Ray are like doing the yes, no, or dodge the question thing. I guess that changes things a little bit.
Final boss, Andy Payne.
But most of them there
Bits and bobs.
there's definitely not necessarily a good ending to the game necessarily.
That doesn't surprise me.
We
we were really close to the ending when the last part ended.
we were stuck in a little bit of a bit there where we didn't really
save.
get to save for a little heckin' stretch of time.
Damn.
Whew. But yes, that
Is there like a true ending per se?
no.
Okay.
There's no true ending. There's no good ending. There's no bad ending. It's just variations on
Just dialogue.
how you handle the situation, essentially. The ways that you handle things going forward dictates kind of how, Alice's attitude is.
Gotcha.
And essentially that changes how things play out a little bit. But I don't think necessarily that there's a good... I'm pretty sure that in all of them that Barney's fucking gone.
Yeah.
I think there's differences to where instead of necessarily shooting him, she doesn't feel brave enough to and just kind of lets him
Slowly,
go, you know?
Yeah.
But other than that, you know, most of the endings will be just as depressing as anything else that you come across this.
God.
But this kind of neat thing about this is that it's very much a look inside two people going through the absolute shitter in an apocalyptic situation, taking a dive into how the situations would go, you know, with
Apocalyptic
the polar crew
or post-apocalyptic?
yeah, post-apocalyptic, I guess. I mean, it kind of seems like it was on that breaking point, kind of, in a way.
Mm-hmm.
To where, you know, they were talking about how for a period they still had money, but things were going haywire after all of that, and then they were losing their jobs and everything. So there was that branch where the snow shut everything down.
Dystopian. There you go.
Yeah. And then everything collapses and everything. But yeah, it helps you take a peek into how people
Richard
deal with
and Alice.
things. And also, you know, as depressing as it may be, you know, not just giving a whole, you know, no matter what rigmarole you go through, that, you know, everything was okay in the end. You know, Alice, flawed person as she is, was still trying to do her best for her son. But sometimes you just run into a brick wall and have to face that hard truth head on.
Yeah.
Of bending over backwards, doing everything possible. And then, you know, it raises questions that you can talk about in other situations where technically, if you think about things, while it was not a fun place to be, would they be okay if they were still in, you know, the strange old bad man's basement? Because they were well taken care of and not exposed to the cold, which is exactly how Barney got sick and ended up befalling it all.
But who knows what he would have done down the line.
Exactly, because Alice was worried about very specific things happening to her in that end. So,
which, valid.
I know, but then, you know, one of the things that I'm sure they make you want to think about is, like, as a mother, what kind of sacrifices are you willing to make for your child? Are you willing to put up with that just for the sake of being able to say that you have food on your child's plate and, you know, warmth and 2 little bedrolls to sleep on and a bucket to go to the bathroom in? You know, they had to go through a lot to be able to find a place that was nicer to stay in, kind of. But going into that place still cost Barney his life, unfortunately, because they had to go out in the wilderness for days just to get there. Even Barney was like, can't we just go back and go in there? Because, you know, who's not to say that if something had even happened to Barney, if he was inside, would the old man have given some medicine to him to make him feel better? Like, seemed like that guy was pretty well off where he was somehow. But it's all those questions
have a whole,
the game,
like, power system.
Yeah, it's everything that the game makes you think about, to be like, you know, here was their story. What would you do in those situations?
Yeah.
You know, there wasn't much choice they gave you in there. They have you respond to how you, well, you know, teach Barney about the situation. But if you were there, what would you do? Would you risk life and limb and a technically safe space to get yourself to an ideal environment, or is that asking for way too much in this world? Which, if you ask Alice nowadays, is probably a yes.
Yeah. Because, like, this is the kind of thing where, like, you can never truly say with 100% confidence what you would do in situations like these unless you're in those situations.
Absolutely.
Which is scary.
Yeah. And raise the questions of, like, you know, and there's irony in the end of this to where, you know, they didn't dare step close to polar territory because they heard about all the bad and dangerous people that were in there. But in the end, Alice is going there anyways and hoping for the best.
Yeah.
And it's like, is it going to eat you away of, like, I could have just gone over here before he ever got sick. And if he did get sick, there's medicine in there probably that would save him. All these millions of questions that as a person you have to ask yourself, you know.
A lot of what ifs.
What ifs, and then how do you deal with essentially the guilt of potentially being like, I may have handled the situation wrong and it cost me everything. You know, which is on the flip side, Richard kind of doing that. But then he was also like, as I was pointing out, he was like, I want to atone for my sins in a safe, warm, plush environment with a get out of jail free card until people went insane. And obviously something happened in there, which what it alludes to is open your discretion, because something happened where someone hit someone with a brick and then fucking dragged them out the elevator door. Like, insane shit went down in that place.
Someone, like, hit him with the brick and then, like, I don't know, maybe it's because they were just bleeding a lot, but it probably said, hey, punch in this password and get me out of here or something like that. I don't know.
Well, also, there's the one guy just fucking hanging from the wall.
Yeah.
Like, did he do that himself or... Like,
there was no body outside or blood, so that's weird.
No, yeah, that raises even
really
more
weird.
concerns on what happened there. Unless that was people getting in and someone was harmed as they were going that way, and then a brick is what finished them off. It's tough to tell in those situations, because that was definitely a thick
But then where's
pool
their
of blood.
body?
Yeah.
You know?
It's all kinds of weird
Plot
shit.
hole. No.
But it helps in the despair of whatever happened that caused this corporation to fall flat on its face, you know?
Also, you gotta keep in mind, she was trying to make decisions while worrying about her child and also having very little, like, food
Oh, absolutely.
and water and sleep and, like...
Yeah.
That's also gonna affect your choices because you can't think right.
No. And I mean, I think the fact of it is that everyone will always... You'll end up thinking in very flawed ways.
Oh, yeah.
No matter, you know, when you're put in situations like this, it's very difficult to find a right choice, because any choice that you make is going to be loaded with negatives when you're in an apocalyptic situation like this. It all just loops back to itself of, what would you do? Do you stay in this 50% safety and worry about it, or do you risk it for all or nothing? You know.
So you think that guy in the confessional was Richard?
No.
Or no? It's hard to tell.
Obviously, they hide his face.
Uh-huh.
But, you know, it would allude to the fact that that was the case.
Because, like,
it was either that,
why would they
or
make
it was
just
after...
some random person? That's probably just open up for interpretation, honestly.
Yeah, because it comes down to... Because I would think... well, obviously, Richard was one of the people that, you know, saw Barney up there. It was the guy that I gave the creepy voice to, because I didn't know who the heck it was going to be.
Yeah.
But that was Richard there, trying to calm Barney a little bit. Which I don't think is the weather guy, because, you know, it seemed like they weren't supposed to be there. It was just a guy that was running that place, and Richard happened to be there at that time.
Yeah, true.
Trying to, well...
It's just, you know, I don't know, people lie, you know?
Yeah.
The guy could have been lying about being a science guy or meteorologist guy or whatever. I don't know.
Well, he was very much a man of faith, which does not seem to be Richard's whole thing. So,
no, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just the fact that that is the father who either used to be there or just kind of took that place up, because I also thought that the person that was dead down in the basement part, I thought that was the priest giving up and killing himself down there. But, you know, all kinds of things that are left up to trying to fill in the blanks as much as you can. A lot of the puzzle pieces fit in certain ways, but...
I feel like this is definitely the kind of game you could go back to and, like, fully understand what's going on with context now.
Yeah.
Instead of being like, oh, that's okay. Like, with Richard's stuff.
I do want to lead towards the fact of the man in the confessional being Richard, because it seemed like, you know, he was researching things in that place, and obviously Richard was getting that information in there. Unless the person was someone that was part of Richard's whole thing of getting the...
Part of his, you know, his squad.
Could have been the inside man that was getting the things for him at the time.
It's never really stated.
Well, no, because... Well, actually, no, scratch that, because if the picture, as I was saying, was Richard's family, that would mean that he was the man in the confessional. Like, that's straight up,
Yeah.
that's 1-to-1 would be it. And I think at that point, he was trying to make a deal with, as they mentioned, with the Polars.
Yeah.
So the one guy that was the whole "you can't, but you can't snooze this" kinds of thing, that guy, that he was probably with the Polars, and he was a regular guy trying to do something there. All of a sudden saw a fucking kid in there and was like, uh-oh, hold on, we gotta leave for a moment here because this is bad news bears.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's how that'll play.
They thought Barney's dad,
was part of the
was by the lake, meaning with the
Yeah,
Polars,
with the
and
Polars,
not, buried in the ground.
not dead. No one expects that.
No.
Whew. But yeah, that, everyone, was Richard and Alice. I would say nice little game, but a story for you. Yes, it's a very well written game, as much as it's despair filled.
Yeah.
But it's kind of the point, to tell a story, and I love those kinds of stories where they they don't necessarily need to give you a happy ending, but it's about making you really feel with these people
and think.
I love those kind of things.
Thinking and feeling rather than, yay, everything's fine.
Exactly, and thank all of you for watching up to this point.
Oh, nice.
We hope you enjoyed and put up with all the feels as much as you could.
Yeah.
Up to the end of this fucking roller coaster.
The ending turned into a podcast.
And enjoyed going to the store. Well, I hope this kind of pad out the video a little bit.
Because it got really short.
But thank you all for joining in, and we'll see you in the next adventure. Next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Go cherish your toy cars.
Good job. Oh. Damn. Go have some corn.
Yeah,
out
some
of the
canned
can.
corn.
Yeah.
Oh.
God.